Hi, Ann Mettler. It's a pleasure to be with you. You're Vice President Europe at Breakthrough Energy, an organization that was founded by Bill Gates in 2015 to scale the critical technologies that we need for the world to get to net zero emissions. Europe has established close to groundbreaking policies to scale renewable hydrogen. We have rules to produce renewable hydrogen. We have targets in priority sectors that cannot be electrified. We have set a target for ourselves of producing 10 million tons of renewable hydrogen at the level of Europe, but that's not enough, it seems. Many projects have been announced, but very few have reached final investment decisions. And it seems that one of the main challenges is the cost of renewable hydrogen. It is still too expensive compared to incumbent technologies. Now, what the European Commission has proposed is to come up with a European Hydrogen Bank, a true novelty, I would say. What do you think about this bank, how important it is, and what do we need to make it a success?
So first of all, thank you for inviting me. Thank you also for all the important work that you do. And regarding your question on the European the Hydrogen Bank, I personally welcome it very much. I believe that there is great merit in having a new financial instrument that is really geared towards standing up a new emerging clean technology. So I am very supportive of it. But I will also say, I think it is, as it is conceived now, underfunded. I have to say, at a time when we are really, there's a global race to stand up a green hydrogen or renewable hydrogen. And a lot of players are now in the game, including the United States, of course, with the IRA, which probably we're going to talk about in a minute. Then the funding seems rather modest. So hopefully this is just a pilot that one can build upon, perhaps when, if and when the European Sovereignty Fund ever sees the light of day. So the funding is an issue. I think we need to top it up. I think we need to put our money into the most mature and most promising projects. And it is likely, since this is a nascent technology, that these projects have probably already received some kind of subsidies. I don't think they should be excluded because of that. I really believe this needs to be a meritocracy. We need to put our money into what are the most ambitious and best projects. That needs to be the criteria.
On the budget, interesting enough, I very much agree with you that currently the clarity isn't there. And we need this clarity now because we are talking about multi-million projects that are sitting there on paper. And without this clarity, basically we will not be able to unlock the investments. We did the estimation within the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition. And we estimate that roughly for decarbonizing half of the current industrial hydrogen demand here in Europe, and applying this incentive of €3 per kilogram of renewable hydrogen, we would need roughly 12 billion a year.
No.
It's not that much.
No, not
if we think European budget, clearly within our reach.
Completely. And if I can add to that, Europe has, since the beginning of the war, and granted, this is an intense crisis situation, but nonetheless, it's worthwhile mentioning also to put your figures into context. Since the beginning of the war, we have subsidized the continued use of fossil energy to the tune of 600 billion in the EU. If you think about the stake, of what that is at play here, the energy resilience that we need to build up. I mean, this is a climate imperative, but it's now also an energy security imperative. It is an industrial competitiveness imperative. So 12 billion is pocket change, honestly, if you think about what is at stake here for Europe to be a leader in renewable hydrogen.
Definitely, Anne. Energy policy is now security policy. And the Ukraine war has shown that we really have to gain strategic autonomy there. And the same holds true with technologies underlying the production of this renewable hydrogen. Now, another call that we are fond of at the coalition is simplicity. We have to make sure that we don't replicate experience that we've seen at European level For example, important projects of common European interests. They were too complex, too slow to get off the ground. I think here Europe should be inspired by the simplicity of the Inflation Reduction Act. And what does that mean, simplicity for this bank? Very simple pre-qualification criteria for projects to bid that are simple enough, limited in number, and flexible as well to cope with the current very changing economic conditions. One example, how you source your renewable electricity in a renewable hydrogen project. Currently, there is a debate about whether you put requirements on this. I think a word of caution from my side would be, we already have rules set for the production of renewable hydrogen. You don't need more rules to the rules. So simplicity is key, and simplicity, I think, will also be key for the speed that is required because of this global race being on.
Yeah, in the early days of the IRA, when Europeans were so upset, I mean, I at the time called for a complexity reduction act in Europe, because I honestly think that complexity is the antithesis of speed and simplicity. And we need to be very careful that the complexity that oftentimes comes with the ambition to be the best, to be perfect, doesn't in the end mean we're not even in the game, right? I mean, this is really what we need to be careful of, because every emerging technology has a learning curve. It will not be perfect from day one, but it will improve over time. If we set the bar so high that we can never even get into the game properly of renewable hydrogen, if our rules have to be so perfect that it prevents deployment in the first place, that we can never go beyond a pilot project, then we shoot ourselves in the foot. And that is a real danger that I see. And this is where it's very important that we don't confuse announcements, small pilots, targets in the future with success today. Europe is very prone to sort of navel gazing, right? And thinking, we're the center of the world and everything is about Europe and the member states. It's not the case. If you look at renewable hydrogen, it's a global competition and everyone is in this game now.
Yes.
From China to India to Australia to the Gulf, right? I mean, this is big. And we need to understand that if we want to be in the game, speed, simplicity, deployment of technology, really putting our money where our mouth is, all of that has to happen now.